Senator Jeff Flake, or as I call him, Senator Cornflakes, is retiring from the Senate when his term is up. He's a Republican from Arizona. He wrote an anti-Trump book and has been pretty vocal in opposing him in some respects. I've done segments in the past, though, where I discuss Jeff Flake, and I say, don't fall for the trick. Because what he does is, as he agrees with Trump on every policy, he goes, "Sir, you are impolite and coarse in our discourse. This is not befitting of a gentleman. Obviously, we start offensive wars and deregulate everything in sight and do the bidding of Wall Street while we smile." And, this is a guy who he smells and looks and acts like a smarmy politician. He's very Ted Cruz-y in that respect. So let's watch a little portion of his speech here. This is him announcing that he's leaving, and he'll explain a little bit as to why he's leaving. And then I want to come back and give you some facts.
Mr. President, I rise today to address a matter that has been very much on my mind. At a moment when it seems that our democracy is more defined by our discord and our dysfunction than by our own values and principles. Let me begin by noting a somewhat obvious point, that these offices that we hold are not ours indefinitely. We're not here simply to mark time. Sustained incumbency is certainly not the point of seeking office, and there are times when we must risk our careers in favor of our principles. Now is such a time. It must also be said that I rise today with no small measure of regret. Regret because of the state of our disunion. Regret because of the disrepair and destructiveness of our politics. Regret because of the indecency of our discourse. Regret because of the coarseness of our leadership. Regret for the compromise of our moral authority. And by our, I mean all of our, complicity in this alarming and dangerous state of affairs. It is time for our complicity and our accommodation of the unacceptable to end. In this century, a new phrase has entered the language to describe the accommodation of a new and undesirable order, that phrase being the new normal. But we must never adjust to the present coarseness of our national dialogue with the tone set at the top. We must never regard as normal the regular and casual undermining of our democratic norms and ideals. We must never meekly accept the daily sundering of our country. The personal attacks, the threats against principles, freedoms and institution, the flagrant disregard for truth and decency, the reckless provocations, most often for the pettiest and most personal reasons having nothing whatsoever to do with the fortunes of the people that we have been elected to serve. None of these appalling features of our current politics should ever be regarded as normal.
So there's a lot to say about that. I mean, it's always amazing when these guys talk about, the eroding of our democratic norms that should not ever be accepted as normal. But again, like under George W. Bush, no more habeas corpus, no more due process, torture all over the place, offensive wars against countries that didn't attack us, set up a giant surveillance state, gets rid of your protection from unreasonable search and seizure and your right to privacy. The Constitution was obliterated. They don't abide by almost any of it. So for guys like this to come out here and clutch his pearls and act like the eroding of our democratic norms, where the fuck were you, under George W. Bush? Where were you even under Obama? I'm sure he disagreed with Obama, but it's not like these guys ever disagree with guys like Obama in a way that makes sense, where they say, hey man, we're now bombing in 7 different countries. You didn't get approval. You didn't get Congress to approve that. You have to do that under the Constitution. You have to get Congress to approve everywhere you go and start a new war. But no, they just added on to the authorization for use of military force under Bush and go, close enough, good enough. So guys like Jeff Flake, when somebody is eroding civil rights, civil liberties, and the Constitution, but they do it in a way where they're still polite in civil discourse, he goes, oh, what a respectable person. But when you have somebody like Trump, who's a monster in every way George W. Bush was, but he also does mean tweets, that's when he's like, oh my goodness, sir, have you no decency? You should be torturing people and invading countries offensively without doing mean tweets. So that's what's always annoyed me about guys like Jeff Flake. But it was another level of annoyance this time around because there were so many people who are Democrats, and I saw it all over Twitter, who were praising Jeff Flake and saying, oh, yes, finally Republicans standing up to Donald Trump. Welcome to the resistance. Somebody literally said that. Welcome to the resistance, Jeff Flake. Welcome to the resistance. So let me show you guys. I know it's difficult to actually try to be objective and look at their records, their fucking voting records, which is all that should matter when you talk about politics. It should be the only thing that matters when you talk about politics. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what Jeff Flake has been up to. Oh, wowzers. Would you look at that? Jeff Flake voted with Donald Trump 90% of the time. 90% of the time. 90% of the time. So Jeff Flake takes the, are you really part of the resistance test? And he scores a fucking 10%. That's what he gets. It's like he sit down and took a test to determine, hey, are you really part of the resistance? Are you voting against him? And he got a fucking 10% on that test. And corporate Democrats are coming all over themselves, acting like this guy's a hero. You want some more specifics on Jeff Flake? He has a 100% anti-abortion voting record. He voted yes on deregulating Wall Street. He voted yes, not only on banning gay marriage, but he wanted to make a constitutional amendment to say we will never have gay marriage. He wants to abolish the Department of Education. He voted yes on barring the EPA from regulating greenhouse gases. He voted no on paid family leave. He supported the Iraq War. He supported virtually every single outsourcing so-called free trade agreement. He voted to slash Medicaid and Medicare, and he voted to repeal Obamacare. So in every discernible way, Jeff Flake is Trump. He is Trump. He's Trump 90% of the time. But these idiots can't help themselves. There was a tweet, I forget the guy who said it, but he did a little tweet storm where he was like, hey, can we have it both ways as people who are on the left? Like, can we say, like, hey man, we want people to speak out against Trump. And then when guys speak out against Trump like Jeff Flake, and we're all like, but hey man, you voted to cut taxes. Are we really being fair when we say that? Like, the level of political discourse you have to be stuck on to even entertain that thought is comically low. Like, you shouldn't be discussing politics on Twitter because you're simply an embarrassment. Because all that matters is policy in the realm of politics. Repeat after me. All that matters is policy when you talk about politics. They're not there to just give flowery speeches and go on Sunday shows and mislead you. Because you don't know fucking politicians lie with how they talk? You don't know that. You don't know that a speech counts for fucking nothing. Speech doesn't mean dick sacks. It means nothing. Doesn't mean anything. Because they could say one thing and vote the exact opposite way. And that's Jeff Flake. Oh, let me show you my Mick resistance. This man is coarse in how he speaks. Our freedoms are being eroded. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I voted with that 90% of the time, but I will wag my finger because I don't like his tone of voice and how he tweets. So if you are that dense that you can't keep your eye on the ball, these are the people who it's like, red balloon. They just fucking lose straight. Red balloon. Oh my God, he said something about Trump that's not good. That doesn't mean anything, man. Because at the end of the day, if you're voting with the guy, your resistance is futile. Your resistance is a non-resistance. So, no, I don't give him fucking credit. No, I don't give Bob Corker credit. These guys are odious. Now, by the way, this is not me saying I don't give them credit. and it's like, hey, I am therefore bolstering Trump. No, my position is quite clearly, motherfuck Donald Trump and his shitty votes and his shitty policies, and motherfuck Jeff Flake and Bob Corker and all these other assholes and George Bush and everybody else. That's my position. Fuck them both. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. That's my position. But unfortunately, what you see now is many silly people who go, he uttered a word against Trump. Hero, part of the resistance. So they bolstered Jeff Flake to put down Trump. How about you don't bolster Jeff Flake and you don't bolster Trump and you say, fuck both of them because their votes are horrendous. The resistance has to stand for more than just we don't like Trump. You have to stand for Medicare for all. You have to stand for free college. You have to stand for a living wage. You have to stand for ending the wars. You have to stand for legalizing marijuana. You have to have a set of beliefs. You have to have principles. You have to have policies that you know would improve people's lives. But no, it's just at the point now where, I don't doubt that if Trump somehow, and this wouldn't happen, let's be clear, but if there was a 180 that he did tomorrow, he said, you know what, when I was going around the world and I was a celebrity and I had mentioned 5 or 6 times that I agree with single-payer systems and Canada's system is better than ours and Scotland's system better than ours, I still agree with that. So I want to do Medicare for all. I think many people in the resistance would go, no, we should keep Obamacare. Trump is anti-Obamacare because he wants to do Medicare for all. That's the level that we're at. It's just the dumbest fucking... So anyway, fuck Jeff Cornflakes. I don't give a fuck that he gives a douchey speech where he pretends like, the norms of society. They were gone under Bush and you loved it. You just don't like the style in which Trump does the same fucking things. So, and by the way, the real reason he's dropping out is he can't win. His poll numbers have tanked because he wrote a book that was like, I disagree with Trump, but I love every fucking policy he stands for. He wrote a book that was anti-Trump, so other Republicans were like, you go after my daddy? Don't go after my daddy. I like my daddy. So, he can't win re-election in Arizona, so he's dropping out and pretending to be a hero in the process. He's not a hero.